Poesy en Ode by Heredia. Soul of a universe, bright poesy, thy spirit vivifies, and, like the blast that's burning in the desert swiftly free, in its course all inflames where it has passed. Happy the man who feels within his breast the fire celestial purely as possessed, for that to worth, to virtue elevates, and to his view makes smile the shadowy forms confused of joys to come and future fates. Of cruel fortune gainst the gathering storms it shields him, causing him to dwell among the beings of his own creation bright. It arms him daringly with wings of light, and to the world invisible along bears him, to wandering mortals to unseal the mysteries which the horrid depths reveal. But sweeter to my fiery soul, 'tis far to feel myself whirl forward in the train of a wide torrent, and as with a star the brow decked proudly hear thy oracles divine, and to repeat them as of old Greek listened mute to those from Delphic cells the favored priestess of Apollo told, while she with sacred horror would unfold the words prophetic, trembling to refer to the consuming god that frenzied her. High inspiration! Oh, what hours of joy, deep and ineffable, without alloy, hast for benign conceded to my breast. On summer nights, with brilliant hues impressed, 'tis sweet to break with sounding prow the wave of a dark surging sea, which shows behind a lengthened streak of light the current gave. 'Tis sweet to bound where lofty mountains wind, or on thy steed to scour along the plain. There is of life a spirit that pervades the universe divine. 'Tis he who shades all nature's loveliest scenes with majesty and glory greater. Beauty self 'tis he, who robes with radiant mantle and endows her eye with language eloquent, while flows soft music from her voice. 'Tis he who lends to her the magic irresistible and fatal, which her smile and look attends, making man mad and drunk beneath a spell. If on the marble sleeping forms he breathe, to life they start the chisel's touch beneath. And Phaedra, Tancred, the right he rings the harbor winner's deep, or softly brings love-fraught delight, as do their strains inspire Anacreon or Tibullus or the lyre of our Mendelet's sweetest languishings. Or wrapped in thunder snatches us away with Pida or Heredia, or thy lay illustrious Quintana, to the heights where virtue and their glory too invites, where him compels us Tasso to admire, Clorinda, Homer fierce Achilles' sire, and Milton, elevated all beyond, is direful angel armed of diamond. Our all, though invisible, this spirit dwells, but from ethereal mansions he descends to show himself to man, and thus portends his steps the night rain and the thunder tells. There have I seen him, or perhaps serene the sun's beam, he wanders to our flow heaven, earth and sea, in waves of golden glow. On music's accents trembles he unseen, and solitude he loves. He lists attend, the waters rush in headlong furies, and the wandering Arabs o'er their sands he leads, and through their agitated breasts inspires a feeling undefined, but great to deeds of desperate and wild liberty that fires. With joy he sits upon the mountain heights, or thence descends, to mirror in the deep and crystal fixedness, or animates the tempest with his cries along to sweep. Or if its clear and sparkling veil extend, the night upon the lofty hop reclined, with ecstasy delights to inspire his mind, or raptured views the skies of ocean blend. Noble and lovely is the ardor felt for glory, for its laurel pens my heart, and I would fain this world when I depart of my steps leave deep traces where it dwelt. This of thy favour, Spirit most divine, I well may hope. for that eternal lives by glowing flame and 5 eternal gifts. Mortals, whom fate gave genius forth to shine, haste anxious to the sacred fount, where flows by fiery inspiration, but bestows the world unworthy guerdon on their pains. While them a mortal covering enshrouds, obscure they wander through the listless crowds. Contempt and indigence their lot remains, perchance even impairs mockery all their gains. At length they die, and their souls take the road of a great fount of light whence first they flowed. And then, in spite of envy, o'er their tomb is the real laurel buds and grows, and thus protects the ashes in the gloom, 'neath its immortal shade, but vainly shows to teach men justice. Ages onward fleet the lamentable drama to repeat, without regret or shame. Homer, thou divine, Milton sublime, unhappy Tassovine, the fate to tell it. Genius yet the while faces misfortune undismayed. His ears dwell only on the applauses to beguile, his songs will happy gain in future years. His glory, his misfortunes will excite sweet sympathy. Posterity will requite justice against their sires, who thus condemn him now to grief and misery. Shame on them. From his tomb he will reign, his cherished name will beauty with respect and sighs proclaim. On her eye gleams a bright and precious tear, his burning pages then will draw from her kind-hearted loveliness. He sees at me, his heart beats, he is moved, and strong to incur the cruelty and injustice is consoled. And waiting thus his triumph to obtain, enjoying it, but in death to hold, flies his Creator's bosom to regain. O sweet illusion! Who has had the power to save himself from thee, who was not born in the cold marble or the rough trunk lower? With art I embrace and the way to be lorn, yet of my muse perchance some happier strains will me survive, and my sepulchral stone will not be left to tell of me alone. Perhaps my name, which rancour now detains, proscribed, will yet resound o'er Cuba's plains on the swift trumpet of enduring fame. Correggio, when he saw his canvas flame with life, a painter, it was his to cry, I also am, a poet too am I.